How are you doing? It's Martin from Gardens for Life. It hasn't rained here in Ireland for 3 weeks, at least where we are, and it has shown in the garden. There's actually cracks in our no-dig garden beds. Look at that. I've never seen anything like it in my gardening career. Still, even though it's so dry now, the ground is really dry when you even dig down into it, but our plants are actually all doing fine. And that's what I'm here to show you today. You can see here the plants are not suffering one bit, but maybe they didn't grow as much as they could have if they had been watered. We didn't do any irrigation here in our no-dig gardens because we couldn't. We have too many gardens. We have about 1.5 acres of gardens, and where would we get all the water from? Because certainly we wouldn't use tap water to water them, because that would kill half the soil life. But it's just starting to rain now. Please leave questions or any feedback you might have about our videos or our gardens in the comments below. We'd highly appreciate it if you ask us questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. For those of you interested, we have a how to grow your own food using no-dig gardening from A to Z day course coming up on Sunday the 18th of June. If you're watching this afterwards, take a look at our website. We always have some kind of workshops or courses coming up. And we also have a no-dig online course on our website, and a homesteading course coming up at the end of July as well. We also have a mehol coming up tomorrow, which is rather short notice, I know, but it's basically just a work party where you help us in the garden, and in return you get experience and cuttings. So you're welcome to come along, but please do let us know if you are coming in. You need to book. Just send us an email if you're interested. I'll put the contact link below. We hope to see some of you there. Purple tree spinach is my favourite breakfast vegetable. Jeez, the last 6 weeks have been intense. I've basically done about 3 years weeding in the last 6 weeks, and have done very little weeding in the last, like last year and the year before that, in all of our gardens. But now that we're finally establishing this garden, this is the new garden you can see behind me here, and that was only done in the last, just last year, about a year ago in July, and we're basically still kind of pulling up the weeds that are coming through in places where we didn't use enough cardboard, but we're also maintaining all of our other gardens as well at the same time. So it's just that time of year you're better off to try and catch the weeds before they go to seed. Once we get past the midsummer mark, I think we're going to be all right, and there'll be very little weeding to do for the rest of the year, I suppose, once we keep the gardens clean up until this point. So let's take a little walk around our garden here. You can see things are going to flower now. This is a great mullein plant, and great it really is. It's the biggest one we've had yet. Look at the size of the leaves compared to my hand even. Our lemon balm will be going to seed soon now. We're going to chop back some of these and actually dry them for the winter. Probably make some beverages using this. Make some wine. Lemon balm wine is actually really nice. There's a marshmallow. Leaves are so soft. Can anyone here tell me in the comments what plant this is? Because I don't know. Been planted here. I probably picked it up at a plant swap, and I'm not sure what it is. As you can see, our German chamomile is doing really well. It hasn't actually unfolded its petals today. Maybe it just knows that the pressure has changed and it's going to rain, so it wants to shed the water. I need to collect some of those too and dry them. Take a look, it's an ocean of chamomile. It smells so good around here too. Of course, Our oriental poppies are growing everywhere. Great landing platforms for the bumblebees. Very easy for them. And the feverfew is starting to flower too. That's definitely another harvest opportunity. As you can see, we still have to do a little bit of weeding in our new garden, but it's not too bad. We've been, as you can see here, this pile here is just some of the bits and pieces that have been picked up, and once you pile them up, they actually go dry. So we basically just create these insect piles every 10 meters or so in our garden, so we always have one within reach of throwing distance anyway, and we can just throw woody material in layers with weeds basically and grasses, and always shake all the soil off them before you throw them on so that they don't come back and they dry out. This is the Victoria rhubarb. These are only 6-month-old plants, well, almost a year old actually. And they're huge already. We could start harvesting from them already this year. We grew them from seed last summer. These ones are Glaston's Perpetual. A little bit of bindweed sneaking its way in there. It's easy to take care of though. Just keep pulling it. It's the best advice I have for you on that. The orphery is looking good. It looks like it's ready to harvest soon. We're going to take all the tops off so that the plant itself actually doesn't expel all its energy from the bulb down below in the ground up to its flowers. So we want to make sure that it preserves all its energy just for producing the bulbs below. It's actually a bulbous leek and it's very popular. It's been selling out every year. It'll become available like all the onions and garlic soon. Probably in July, I'd say. Sometime in July. You can see here it's been so dry. But still, the first couple of inches of soil are very dry. Down here, I can kind of feel a bit of moisture already, but not much. But considering it hasn't rained for 3 weeks, which is quite unusual, but we're used to having droughts in Ireland here now for maybe a couple of weeks at a time, and maybe get 2 or 3 of those every summer. While it is a refreshing weather pattern for us here because we're used to having rain basically for 6 months straight, and we get to do way more work outside when it's not raining and it's more enjoyable. We would still prefer if we did get a little rain every week, but sure, you can't have it all. The elephant garlic is looking good. It's huge, so it is. It's actually also in the leek family, same as all the garlic. A little bit of room here for planting. I'm going to plant that up fairly shortly. More lemon balm here. The Egyptian walking onions. Those have only been planted here just towards the end of the season last year. They're doing great. And we have some dahlia plants here too. And this is the disaster corner. I'm a little bit ashamed to even show you this because it's the one corner of the garden that really does need a bit of taking care of, especially because things are going to seed. Especially this fella here. Don't want that going to seed. Chop it back. Definitely take the seed heads off anyway, straight away. But I'll be pulling them up all together once I get to put a couple of hours into this corner here. And the chard is just going rampant. I'm not too sure if we'll try to get a seed crop out of it, but then considering it'll spread. We have some new seedlings actually coming up in our greenhouse, so I might actually just take up most of these plants here and feed them to the animals, because these ones, after they go to seed, they're basically done. They won't come back again. And when they grow newly from seeds that it made itself, they'll be very small, because by the time they go to seed and drop their seeds and germinate, it'll be very late in the season. So, and probably won't get many greens out of it before the winter or throughout the winter. Last winter was fairly hard on this chard, because we had temperatures here of -8 degrees Celsius, and it died back fairly hard as a result. But our Taunton Dean kale was actually doing the best out of all the winter vegetables that we had here, winter greens anyway. The Portuguese kale didn't do that well, and the red Russian kale did okay, pretty good. You can see here there's an ocean of thyme, and it's going to flower now. It's attracting all kinds of insects to our garden. There's a bit of oxalis, which is quite ornamental, but also very nice to eat. And the iron cross oxalis here too. There's some squash plants here, some butternut squash. Unfortunately, all of our pumpkin seeds didn't germinate. I may have washed them a little too hot when I was cleaning the seeds, and maybe that made them sterile. I'm not sure, but I've tried 3 different batches of red curry squash or pumpkins, and unfortunately we'll have no pumpkins this year, I don't think, except for a few butternut squash. Yeah, that's really unfortunate, because I even had a pile of compost ready to go for it. I was going to call it the Pumpkin Mountain, but I should have started more seeds in March rather than April. I didn't want to start them too early, because I wanted to be able to transplant them directly out into the garden without the chance of the frost killing them. And as you know, we even get frost up until the 1st of June here. There's a lot of flies around now. Go away, fly. And if you want to be safe enough, not a guarantee, but if you want to be fairly safe, you got to wait until the 1st of June to put out your tender crops, like the courgettes and the pumpkins, for example. Because from the 1st of June, you're very, very unlikely to actually experience frost. Although there was some pockets in the country last year that had experienced frost mid-June as well. But here we haven't had any frost this year at all, I don't think in May even. So it would have been a really good pumpkin year. I could have planted them out very early, but unfortunately I started one batch after another and all of them failed. So that's quite unfortunate. If you have any red curry squash, please do send us some seeds at the end of the season. We'd highly appreciate that. Or come to one of our seed swaps or events and bring us some of the seeds. That'd be really appreciated. We'll certainly return the favour and give you lots of seeds that we have here. You can see the spuds, they're growing for the 2nd year here now. There's some nettles going to seed over there. I might chop those, because I don't want those seeds coming in here. Oh yes, the elderflowers are out, by the way. They're starting up now, so it's time to make some elderflower cordial and wine. We have recipes on our website, so take a look at those. Always worth doing. It's very easy to do. Doesn't take up much time. You can see this is the Portuguese kale going to seed, and the red Russian kale right beside that. Look at all the seed pods here. Definitely going to have a good seed crop here. I'm particularly interested in taking the seeds off the plants that have very large leaves as well. So I'm going to try to continue that trait, and we'll see where it leads us. Hopefully somewhere along the lines of having the red Russian kale with as bigger leaves as the black magic, for example. That's actually a continuation of the Nero kale, so that'll be handy. Oh, how did you get here? I didn't want you to grow here. I'm going to pull them up in a minute. I have no gloves on me. But for now, in case I don't come back, don't need gloves really. Just kick up the roots and there you go. If you didn't bring your gloves, you're still able to pull up a nettle. Away with you. So our celeriac going to seed here. It's kind of coming onto the path here a bit. I might just chop that back a bit. These I could do with a machete around here. When you look at the amount of growth we have. I mean, the rate of growth, I've never seen anything like it this year. It's been phenomenal. Basically, we've had no growth at all up until 2 months ago, and then everything just exploded and grew about twice the size, or twice as much as you'd expect within that time period. And we're back in the middle. That was the big loop. I want to show you the Taunton Dean kale. It's doing so well. This is the Taunton Dean kale. It's nice, it's so stable. It just keeps growing and growing steadily year after year. And throughout the season, even in the winter time, it actually just hangs in there. And it has leaves that are very frost resistant, and they're still really nice to eat throughout the winter. So they're great for animal fodder and for soups as well, and sauteing. Very reliable winter greens. Garden is looking good. Well, thanks for watching the video. And again, if you're interested in coming to one of our workshop days or even do a no-dig course with us, you can have a look at our website. We have one coming up on the 18th of June. If you're watching this afterwards, don't worry, there's always new courses coming up. If you can't come here in person, if you're too far away, we have a no-dig course on our website as well. It's an online course. But if you want to come here in person and get some personal experience and actually learn through by using your hands, well, you can come here either for free to one of our mehalls, which is basically just a work day where you help us in the garden in return for experience and cuttings. And if you want to dive in depth with us into how to grow your own food and how to start your own no-dig garden from A to Z, just come to one of our no-dig courses. So we'll hope to see some of you there. We also have a homesteading course coming up again at the end of July as well. Thanks for watching, and we will see you the next time. Bye bye.